What's going on, Yankee fans? Welcome back to another video. If you guys haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that notification button so you get notified when a live stream pops or a video drops. Appreciate y'all. Thank y'all for coming back once again. So if you guys have noticed, the video quality is better. I figured out some coding that I should have really months ago, but due to a video that I looked up, and I was like wondering for a while, why are my videos looking so crappy? They look like they're in like 360p. Well, the YouTube uploading thing, it downgrades your video quality unless you have that type of cheat code. It's not really a cheat code, but you have to do something in terms of exporting once you're done with the video editor. You have to up it a lot. It takes a lot more time. But with that being said, I'd rather it take more time and the quality be better rather than it uploads and exports in 20 seconds rather than the video being shit quality. So that's not the point of this video. The point of this video is to talk about two things. One crossed my mind today. One has been crossing my mind for a couple of weeks now, but I finally have made a decision. So let's talk about this. So last night, the Yankees sent down Mike Ford after the game. Horrible hitter. Good job by the Yankees on that thing. I don't really wish it upon anyone, but once again, Mike Ford was hitting a good 130. He struck out at least 3 times last night. No plate discipline whatsoever. No pitch recognition. No approach at the plate. And he only hits for homers, and that did not help the Yankees. Obviously, he's a good defensive first baseman in terms of picking, but DJ LeMahieu can do that in a way. And also, he's a utility guy, and he hits at least 250, 260 every year. Mike Ford hits for like 130, and he is nowhere near his 2019 self. So that's not necessarily something I have a problem with. The Yankees decided to call up Brooks Kriske in place of Ford. Now, I got the excuse, the Yankees, they need bullpen help because yesterday they used a lot. I get that, but Albert Abreu was literally on the 40-man. It sucks. It really does. And I'm going to go into a little bit of a rant here, but this is just total mismanagement. And people see it as a minor mismanagement or a minor thing that they called up Kriske. Kriske is not major league talent, people. I don't know where you're getting, these stats and analytics from, but he is not major league talent. He is not. Let's go over the stats, and I'm going to explain why I think Kriske is bad and why the Yankees made a mistake. Obviously, this goes to Chris Gittens thing, so obviously I just gave you a little foreshadowing. So with that being said, in 2020, he appeared in 4 games with a 14.73 ERA in 3.2 innings, 3 hits, 6 earned runs, 1 homer, and 7 walks while compiling 8 strikeouts. And then in 2021, in 1 game and 1 appearance, 9.00 ERA in 1 inning, 1 home run given up, 1 earned run, 1 hit, and 1 strikeout. So not really that bad. Obviously, deflated ERA, but he is not major league talent. We literally have 1 first baseman. He's not even a first baseman. He's a utility guy that plays second. That's DJ LeMahieu. Now, am I against him playing first base? Of course not. But in this situation, of course you have to, because they decide not to call up Chris Gittens. It's so amazing that we call up a bunch of flunkies, they don't work out, and we wonder why we trade a bunch of prospects and some people away and lose them in the Rule 5 draft because, oh my God, they're good and we didn't realize it till right now. That's what's going to happen to Trey Omberge and maybe Chris Gittens if we never call him up. But my point is, you have a dire need at first base. Outfield is another day and another topic in a different video. You have a need at first base in terms of hitting. Chris Gittens hitting 256 on the season in 43 at-bats, 14 hits, 4 home runs, 10 RBIs. An on-base percentage of .475. With an OPS of 1,080, so 1.080 if you guys want to be technical about it. This guy is literally hitting better than Mike Ford. We only have 1 person on the roster right now that can play first base. Unless you for some reason put Gary there, but this isn't Brian McCann. This ain't Francisco Cervelli here. Why are they doing this? Why? I have no idea. This is such mismanagement, and it's only going to get either worse or something's going to happen and it's going to be better or it stays the same. I know this is minor for some of y'all, but literally Giants Twitter and Giants fans, but literally Yankees Twitter and Yankees fans have caught on to this and said, okay, we need to start calling up Chris Gittens. But the YES Network the other day, they were talking about, Aaron Boone has remarked on Chris Gittens, he's hitting well in the minor leagues in AAA, but the Yankees are concerned about his K rate. I'm like, okay, so people have not been reading reports. On Pinstripe Prospects or NJ.com, according to them, or at least one of them, I don't know who it was, but it was one of them, shout out to them, his K rate has gone down, and it's not necessarily K rate, it's just the amount of strikeouts, and also the fact that his pitch recognition, his plate discipline, and his approach at the plate have gotten better. He was a huge K guy in 2019 with the Trenton Thunder. Hit like a 270 batting average with 23 home runs and 79 RBIs. I memorized those stats, at least I think I did. But he still hit for average. You know? We talk about Judge with the strikeouts, he's hitting like 300 right now. Stan's not. Stan's fucking horrible ever since coming off the IL. He's like 0 for freaking 10 or something like that. Who knows? He'll probably start in tonight's lineup, though. My point is that it's so frustrating. We have a dire need at first base, but we're going to call up a pitcher, a bullpen pitcher. Maybe, and I understand the bullpen need, trust me, because we did go 11 innings yesterday. My point is, why don't you ask the offense and Marcus Timms to lighten the fuck up and get the hitting on the board and scoring some runs so we don't waste pitchers because they give up 2 runs every game and they run out of pitches. Now, if a pitcher walks like 7 guys or 5 guys or whoever, that's on them. But this whole season, this offense has been straw terrible. I know that's a new phrase. I'm going to keep using it probably. It's just something I just thought of right now. They have been horrible. They have not backed up this pitching whatsoever. And that's why the pitching at times has been very inconsistent. And trust me, I know that a lot of people are talking about Jameson Tyne going after the hitting, but is he wrong? I know that in a Joe Girardi atmosphere, this would not happen. He would not call out the offense. But once again, is he wrong? He's not wrong. Why not take a chance on Chris Gittens, who's not a prospect, by the way? Estevan Florial's a prospect, hasn't really been doing well in Scranton. You know, there's other players that have been prospects. Davey Garcia, he's a prospect. He's not in the major leagues. He's on the 40-man. So why don't you give him, or maybe even Trey Ombergy, a chance? That's a different video. I'm going to shove that off to the side right now. He's hot in Scranton right now. But once again, another video. Chris Gittens, literally hitting 256, which is better than most of the people up here at the bottom of the order. But no, let's not give him a chance. So as of right now, until Luke Voigt comes off the IL, DJ LeMahieu, you're going to be the starting first baseman. Unless for some reason Miguel Andujar transfers over, he's still staying in left field, and DJ LeMahieu's going to be the first baseman. Utter ridiculousness. When Krisky has a bad outing and people are complaining, then they'll reference this video because you know what? I called it. And I don't want to be right. Trust me. I hope he proves me wrong. I never root against anybody. I'm not that guy that always wants to be right all the time. But this is utter ridiculousness, especially for the fact that we have a need at first base after Luke Voigt just went back on the IL. I literally just did a video on why Chris Gittens should be called up. But no, they did one of the 2 things I asked for. One of those things, sending Mike Ford down. The other thing, they called up Brooks Krisky because, bullpen help is more of a need than first base help. Doesn't make a lot of sense. So let's talk about the other thing that was supposed to be the topic of this video before we actually, filmed. And then what happened was Brooks Krisky got called up. So Gary Sanchez, after last night's game, I'm going to put it bluntly and simply, but I'll explain. I am done with him. I'm done with him. He is useless. He is bad. Ever since 2018, and I've been making the connection ever since. Ever since Girardi left, he's been terrible. Maybe average at best. I don't want to really slam him too hard. But in the last 2 years, he's been shit. Let's be honest. And it's really, I would say, gotten to me this year, especially in Dunedin, especially in Detroit, and now we referenced yesterday's base running error and then the mental errors that compile after it. He is a mental errors machine. It's okay if you have one bad game or 2 bad games once in a while, but this guy, every time he makes a mistake, it gets to his head and the morale of the team is ruined. He is literally one of the reasons why I don't feel positive after yesterday's win. Sorry, that's just the facts. You want me to lie to you? You want me to soft code it like Aaron Boone does? Utter disgrace. And I ranted. I ranted yesterday on Twitter. I ranted yesterday on Instagram. Basically the same video. Why is he on the field? They need to do something about him. Point is, people say, oh, he got better at defense. But when he makes a base running mistake or an offensive mistake, it goes to his defense because it gets in his head. Once again, you have players like that in sports all the time. But when you don't have a stern manager, except you have a fucking puppet clown, it's not going to go well. And it's only going to get worse. Unless they bench him, which they won't do because it's the soft philosophy of the analytics bugs. Trust me. If Joe Girardi was still around, I would take this a little less hard personally. Not personally, but as a fan. Because Girardi would light a fire under his ass and say, hey, lighten the fuck up and run the bases well, or else you're going to get your ass benched. He would have went to Higgy by now. Maybe last year. He would have went to Higgy by now. And I know we're being boomers here saying, oh, Joe Girardi. And I know a lot of Aaron Boone stands are out there saying, oh, Joe Girardi's in Philly right now. Stop talking about him. No, we're not going to stop talking about him because he is relevant to this conversation. Gary Sanchez had his best years under Joe Girardi. What also to know? He was a catcher. Aaron Boone was a third baseman. And if I'm going to be honest here, let's put out the blunt truth of two different things. If it wasn't for that walk-off hit, he would have never gotten a managerial job for the Yankees. Number two, should his first managerial job even been a Yankees manager? Should his first managerial job should have even been in New York because of all this pressure? I think the Yankees really need to rethink that. I don't know. I'm sorry. I know I'm not positive coming off yesterday's loss, but you kind of heard my reasons. Because the soft philosophy of this team, and if you don't have a stern philosophy, but you have a player who constantly fucks up the morale of this team by committing mental errors and ruining parts of games, well, it's only going to get worse, and we're only going to get more irritated as we go. And then what's going to happen? If this team gets really bad, let's put it in perspective here. I'm not saying it's going to happen. But if this team gets really bad, you're going to stop selling tickets. People are not going to want to come to games anymore. That is like Pirates level. And we're not at Pirates level, but you know what? Keep going down this road for the next 2 to 3 years, and it's going to happen. Especially if we don't make the playoffs this year. And people talking about playoffs, let's leave playoffs out. Let's leave playoffs out of the conversation right now because this team can't even win consistently because of the players on this team that don't care. Now, Gary Sanchez the other day, he was banging his helmet or banging something against the bench. That shows fire in you. But the reason why I don't believe it in Gary Sanchez is because he doesn't fucking run baseballs out. He doesn't. If you play 162 games, you sort of get an excuse like Robinson Cano. But Aaron Boone's here, gets to jog to first base. I could literally run faster than he could jog. Probably. Just my biased opinion. But, you're going to jog to first base, nothing's going to happen. You don't call out your players in the locker room, and you don't fix that shit because why? Because of a soft philosophy. Soft philosophy. And this is what baseball is becoming. This is what sports are becoming. You think it's just baseball? You think it's just Manfred? You think it's just the analytics? No. Teams around the leagues, in different leagues, are going to this philosophy because they want the prisoners running the asylum. Now, I'm not going to go ahead as far as saying that I agree with Tony La Russa on that whole 3-0 crap. I'm not that guy. But look at what the possibility is, and I'm not saying this because I'm a Knicks fan. But if the Nets were doing terrible right now, Kyrie would be saying something, KD would be saying something, James Harden would be saying something. And Steve Nash would not have any control over that locker room. Trust me. If they were doing bad and not really doing good under expectations or whatever, they would end up like the Browns of 2019. Get all the hype, and then what would happen? It would totally implode, and they would have to start something new. Now, the Browns didn't have to do that, but that's a different topic. So what is my point in all this? I'm done with Gary Sanchez, put Kyle Higashioka as the catcher. And, once again, if Gary Sanchez actually had a stern philosophy in terms of a manager and an organization and a front office as a whole, maybe I would take this less personally. But because we don't have Joe Girardi or Buck Showalter or a manager that knows how to take accountability and lets players take accountability, because we have Aaron Boone as the manager and a soft philosophy with the analytics and that bullshit, well, that's only going to get worse, and that's why I want Gary out of here. New change, new scenery for Gary. Bye-bye. When you're on the field, I'll root for you. When you're off the field, well, I don't know what I'm going to do with you. That's pretty much it. So if you guys haven't already, like, comment, and subscribe. Turn on that notification button so you get notified when a live stream pops or a video drops. I know this was a very long rant, but with that being said, it had to be done. And by the way, fire Marcus Timms. I'm done with him. Literally was a bum in the major leagues. Literally didn't do much of anything. Oh, he gets hitting coach for the Yankees now because of analytics. Get the hell out of here with that shit. Don't even bring that up to me. He needs to be fired. So with that being said, guys, Boys in Big Apple podcast tonight. We'll be covering the Knicks game, Yankees game, and a lot more topics, including how the NFL wants to take away the privileges from underprivileged players like UDFAs and a lot more veteran backups because they want to add an extra game, and that would reduce the preseason. So we'll talk about that later tonight. But guys, stay cool. Peace out. See you later.